Sharing a single characteristic does not mean two separate entities share identical identities. Yet, in debates and arguments, people constantly exploit this simple cognitive bias to fabricate logical connections that do not exist. To understand how this trick works, look at the architecture of a formal argument. The structural glue that connects two premises together is called the middle term. It acts as a conceptual bridge linking two distinct subjects. For that bridge to hold up, logic requires a rule called distribution. To form a valid connection, the argument must make a definitive claim about 100% of the members inside that middle term group. If an arguer links two things through a shared group, but fails to speak for every single member of that group, the logical bridge collapses. Any conclusion drawn from that structure is completely invalid. Let's test this rule against a real-world argument. Consider this sequence. Democrats care about helping the disadvantaged in society. Jesus always cared about helping the disadvantaged. Therefore, Jesus must have been a Democrat. To evaluate this, we first isolate the middle term. The specific trait shared by both subjects is people who care about the disadvantaged. Look at the first premise. It doesn't claim all people caring for the disadvantaged are Democrats. Likewise, Jesus accounts for one individual in that population. Because neither premise covers 100% of the shared group, they exist without overlapping. The conclusion is baseless. Here is a highly charged political scenario. Supporters of the Ku Klux Klan are against gun control. Republicans are also against gun control. Therefore, some Republicans must be supporters of the Klan. Encouraging. Pause the video here. Identify the middle term and determine whether either premise makes a 100% claim about that shared group. Let's review the solution. The shared connector, operating as the middle term, is people against gun control. The distribution failure happens immediately. Neither premise speaks for everyone who opposes gun control. They only describe two distinct subgroups residing within that wider population. Sharing a singular political stance does not mathematically guarantee any cross-pollination of identity. This specific fallacy weaponizes our cognitive bias to smear opponents rather than prove a logical point. Spotting this structural flaw is an important analytical skill. However, calling out undistributed middle terms in the middle of a live debate will likely just alienate your audience. Instead, use the absurd counterexample method. You hijack your opponent's exact logical architecture, but you inject universally accepted truths to force a hilariously false conclusion. You deliver this exact counterattack script. Professors read books. Children read books. Therefore, professors are children. Because the new conclusion is obviously absurd, despite using entirely true premises, your opponent is forced to admit that the underlying structural logic they relied on is broken. Whenever someone tries to link two entities purely because they share a single trait, verify if they spoke for 100% of that group. If they didn't, you dismantle their argument with the professor and the child.